1, 2, 3, 4. Almost every day, I see the same face. A broken picture too. It's been the attitude. If you can see yourself, you put you on a shelf. You're from a masturbate, promise to nauseate. Today I play the part of not parents. Not make 100 rules for you to know about yourself. The lie make you believe what's evil. It's making love and making friends and meaning God's your own way. The right way to see, to bleed, cannot be done. It's true, you're making us fucking lost all. We stand alone. The truth is right or wrong, the boundaries of the law. You see the fist of blood, arrested for a choice. You see the wonder why, watch when the people die. You're right, tickets man, I'm on the job they ran. Now I play the public servant, to serve and protect by the law and the state. I bust upon the rape, stealing murder, and leave you be if you got me, shake your head like a man. Not a god, to see, to bleed, cannot be done. It's true, you're making us fucking hostile. We stand alone. Come meet your make a bond, something you can't enjoy because of heaven, hell, a fucking wise tale. They put it in your head, they put you in your bed. He's watching, say a prayer, cause God is everywhere. And now I play a man learning preacher about the dignity of the destined life. I question things because I am human, and call the one I follow who's the closer than a stranger. I won't listen. To see, to bleed, cannot be done. It's true, you're making us fucking hostile.
The only night. You know what? I don't feel like doing an introduction today. I'm Elizabeth. That's Phil. Adam, go ahead.
Okay, well, normally, for the viewers of NASCAST 500, I'm sure you know by now that if you haven't tuned in to all the other episodes just now, I fucking hate Jimmy Johnson. And whenever he wins, I tend to get pissed off. And when I tend to get pissed off, I tend to really vent my emotions on the situation. Now, like, 7 years ago, this would be me, but with Kyle Busch. Now it's completely opposite. The race was a fucking joke. I mean, from the get-go, it was just boring as fuck. I didn't even really bother watching the race. I had better things to do than watch it. I mean, between watching the race versus playing Xbox versus getting in the shower versus anything, the race was just a shitfest. And it's not really fair because it was the second race of the year, and already we couldn't even get through without a Hendrick fucking benefit already. I mean, we've already had two meh races already in the weekend with the Xfinity race when Harvick won, and although I can't stand the Cup guys winning, I'm glad it wasn't Logano. And when it comes to the truck race, the race was just mediocre at best, but glad that Matt Crafton won. Anyway, on to the subject of the piece of shit in the 48. You can just smell it was a bot win from the get-go. Somebody from Hendrick was winning at Atlanta that day, whether if it was Gordon in his last start there, whether if it was Candy King getting that magic win again, like he intends to do, but with Kane, it's usually late in the season than the early part. And, of course, with Junebug, of course, he has to follow up his third place finish in Daytona with the win, or that piece of shit in the 48 who nearly won the race in Daytona but got shuffled in the back last couple laps. So either way, it was. I just could have felt it was going to be a Hendrick benefit. If Logano went back to back, I really wouldn't care. I mean, I wouldn't be happy with it, but I wouldn't be pissed off with it like I got on Sunday. And the last 100 laps or so were just a fucking joke. I don't even know why I even bothered watching, because we all knew that fucking dickhead in the 48 was going to win. And I posted a status about it on Facebook. I said, we can't even go 2 races in, and already Hendrick's already winning. And, the 48 was going to win sooner or later. We all know that, unfortunately. But to have it happen this early in the season and to have nobody pass him just like he has all of his wins, I just can't fucking believe it. Harvick had a good shot to beat him, but then of course you had Matt Kenseth who was staying out, Brett Moffitt who stayed out, fucked him over, and that's what really killed his chances to win. And Junior can stay with the pack for the first couple laps, then he falls back. That's just typical Junior. So in any case, whatever the case was, however Johnson won it, I just fucking hate that. I just fucking hate him. There's just with most drivers nowadays, with the fans, they're just like, oh well, Johnson won, that fucking sucks. But there's a lot of fans out there that get as pissed off as I do when that fucking cheater wins. And the fact there's actually people out there who are happy he won, it just curdles my blood. It just ugh. And the worst part about the win on Sunday for that fuckface was that the fact that nobody tried to beat him on the last few laps, couldn't have a chance to because of NASCAR's bullshit caution system. The second thing that really got on my nerves about the whole win was that already the media is sucking his fucking dick like no one's business. I posted a picture of it actually no, Elizabeth posted it. It's a picture of Johnson saying, here's how many times Johnson's won the second race of the year and went on to win the championship. It's like, he's won one fucking race. You're already going to crown him the fucking champion? But I really shouldn't be surprised. It's a fucking Fix Sports article, and they're known for posting really stupid, shitty articles about Pukemania and Fix Pack and how much they like to moan their name when they're jerking off or something because they have nothing better to do. So hope Johnson choked on his champagne. He obviously choked on something else that night. And hopefully when they get to Vegas that he and Chad wreck and chat, and they just the camera pans on Chad, see him whining and crying and running back to the garage because he just got wrecked. So hope the cheating was worth it, Hendrick, because it was just a fucking joke to watch that race. Even in the beginning, it just felt like it was just going to end shitty, and I was just going to flip my shit. So when he passed the checker flag, I didn't even bother watching victory, and I never do when he wins. I just turn the TV off even before he crossed the finish line. So the race was a fucking joke. It was an obvious HMS benefit. Hendrick obviously paid off NASCAR to get the win, and not going to be surprised if he pays for 3 to 4 more wins this season, and then of course have that magical chance to make the chase and try to get his 7th championship. I'm putting that in quotes because he doesn't deserve 7 championships. From the old point system, he would have only had 3 championships, and that's the way it should have been. But nope, BZF has to destroy NASCAR even more by letting this fuckface win, and it's good for the sport. I guarantee he's gonna come out and say, well, Jamie Johnson winning is good for the sport. No, it's not good for the sport. It's bad for the sport. That's the fucking reason why NASCAR's in the shitter. Half of it is because of the chase, and half of it is because of Jimmy Johnson. Nobody's not tuning in because of Kyle Busch or Joey Logano. It's because of Jimmy Johnson. Nobody wants to watch that vanilla fuckface win every goddamn race and have a chance to win the championship every fucking year. And you know what? I could even feel, even before the race even started, even before qualifying, that when I posted the link in the group page of sign of things to come, could Johnson win the championship? Fox had already picked Johnson win the championship, and how ironic! The weekend they write that article, Johnson wins the race. It's fucking rigged to no end. So fuck Hendrick, fuck Johnson, fuck Chad, and I really hope that they choked on each other's dicks in their own champagnes, because I'm probably sure they did. And I hope that they wreck next week. Either they blow up, they blow a tire and hit the wall, or whatever. I just want that piece of shit out of the race. Fuck Jimmy Johnson. I'm done.
Now, did you guys like the meme I made?
Jimmy wins, lol. Yeah, that was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just go down the list. Fucktard, Happy, Goontard. What the hell? Okay, look up, Pizza Face, Kenseth, Truex, Almendinger, Moffitt, who I was actually very impressed with, Kozlowski, and No Neck.
Yeah, so, I mean, you look at the results, 3 guys basically led the entire race, in Johnson, Harvick, and Logano. Junebug, for being up there most of the day, only led 1 lap, and of course he had the one chance on that last restart to actually make Johnson earn it, and he backed off in 3 and 4. If it was his dad, he would have probably went for it in 3 and 4, and or took out Jimmy Johnson in the process. So at least he would have done everyone a service. All 12 fans that were at Atlanta Motor Speedway on Sunday. I give credit to Martin Truex Jr. Another great run for him. Great start to the season for him and Furniture Row. The crew chief change seems to have worked. The great rules changes that BZF has made haven't changed the way the racing is during 500-mile races. They're as non-competitive now as they were a year ago, or 2 or 3 or 5 years ago. 500-mile races aren't really meant to be competitive in general. They're gonna show the teams that are really on get up to the front, and the teams that are really bad are just gonna get fucked. Like Tony Stewart. Basically, all the 13 cars didn't get to qualify on Friday.
That's kind of stupid, by the way.
Yeah, which was questionable, which included Jeffy and a bunch of other people, and everybody but Smoke went up to the front, which just pissed me off to no end. That was strike 1. Then, it was a typical 2014 race of Harvick going out front and dominating. And whatever, I really don't care. I don't want to listen to the Three Stooges announce the races because they're god-awful and they're so biased. That was strike 2. Then when I saw that Johnson was in the lead, because basically I was in between watching the Holman-Roth doubles bowling tournament on ESPN and the Honda Classic, because there was actually, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. I've had shits that are more compelling than the race that took place on Sunday, and have been more worthwhile to human life. But they're slobbering on Pukemania and all these other people, because she was actually, quote, on the lead lap, and quote.
Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did you hear what Adam Alexander said about Danica during the freeway show?
Well, I'm pretty sure he probably said that she could make the chase because he sucks her cock. So whatever, that's his prerogative. Him and Mikey fuck each other in the backyard with the horses and stuff, and then in his spare time he goes and blows Danica's cock while Richard is busy. So the guy is the worst announcer in motorsports, lead announcer in motorsports by far. He has no business being there. I don't know who came. TNT, they did so many great disservices to us between making Adam Alexander a lead announcer, making Kyle Petty senile while announcing, having Chris Neville call cup races when he's a sports car guy. The hits keep on coming, employing Larry Mack for longer than he really deserves to be. It's just brutal. And Adam Alexander goes and fucks goats on his spare time anyway, so fuck him and his boyfriend, MW55. But to the point of what I was saying, I want to focus on something, because I refuse to acknowledge the Hendrick benefit, because that's what this. The point is, all the changes they made to the cars basically made them faster in the corners and slower down the straights, which is idiotic. Make the cars harder to drive, give them 900 horsepower, and cut all the aero off of it, so they have to brake in the corners, so you actually have to drive it. Would that mean Jimmy Johnson would still have an advantage? Probably, because he has the best crew chief, he has a chosen team, chosen car, chosen manufacturer, chosen owner, all of that. And he's in BZF's back pocket because he takes his loads. Okay, all of that is fine and well. And Harvick would probably be there too. But other people that actually can drive would be able to drive up to the front. The way the sport is right now, they had all this time to science out adjustments, and they completely fucked it up. I'm going to give it another week, this week at Las Vegas, and if it's as bad as last week, then I'm probably going to wait until the 600 or some race later in the season to really get into a Richmond or something like that. I mean, I'll give credit to Truex and Allmendinger, who had another great run this weekend and this past weekend. Moffitt, who, off of his best finish of his Cup career, finally getting in proper equipment. He has a ton of talent. He's one of the NASCAR Next guys, and he'll get screwed by Michael Waltrip eventually. Just wait and see. It usually happens. But I'm sure there'll be a laundry list of teams that'll hire him to do something, because that kid can drive. He did a really good job on a difficult track, difficult circumstances. He should have been driving in the 500. Would have probably gotten a better finish than his fruity owner. Nonek got a 10th after getting into that big wreck late in the race. There's one of those late race wrecks, and
wasn't Richard part of one of the wrecks?
Yeah, Richard. Richard!
Richard!
Was part of the wreck, and he owned one of those wrecks, but that was the 8-car wreck that finally ended Tony's misery. Because that car, and I'm certain that car ran better wreck than it ran in its regular form, which was total bullshit. Young Money also had problems, so he's had a tough start to this season as well. But I figure he'll come along here soon enough. The date change of Atlanta to February didn't help with attendance. It didn't help with the weather on Sunday. Saturday they had good weather. The races were just as uncompelling on Saturday as they were Sunday, but the weather was good, relatively speaking. Sunday was horrendous.
Global warming right there, folks.
Yeah, so it's just, and they're just trying to kill Atlanta Motor Speedway. So, I mean, it's sad, but they're just
Bruce Smith own that or no?
He owns it, but he's trying to kill it so he can go and run another race at Vegas or some other shithole he has. You know, because he has a race at fucking Kansas Speedway, or Kentucky Speedway, which is a shithole. You know, Bristol's become shitty. You know, Las Vegas isn't that good. Sonoma's not really that good of a road course. Most all of his tracks, if not all of his tracks, are garbage. So he's not really doing anything but screwing us over. And ISC doesn't really provide a good product at most of their tracks either. But it's also based on the cars. But it's a whole other story. So I give credit to the guys, those single car teams, and you know, the rookies like Brett Moffitt, who's probably not going to get to run another Cup race for a while, but good on him. And we'll see what happens at Vegas this week. I don't really have high hopes, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, Ann. Alright. Yes, poor Travis Kvapil. His car got stolen. Karma.
Poor Travis Kvapil. Fuck that guy.
Karma right there.
Yeah, well, yeah, honestly, I was kind of on the news when I heard that Kvapil's car got stolen. I was like, okay, well, haha, fuck you. That's kind of what you get for beating your wife, and you could say NASCAR and Kurt Busch got suspended, but whatever, that's another fucking topic. Then, on one of the pages I admin, the NASCAR Through the Years page, one of the admins posted a Craigslist link. Supposedly, this guy that stole Travis's car had put it on Craigslist. There's no picture or anything. It says 2015 Sprint Cup car, $20. Yeah, Apparently, he was trying to sell it for $20, and the description said, "quote 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup car for sale or for dope, blah blah blah," and then the parentheses shows the location. It says ghetto, and then it says meet in a back alley. I'm like, this has got to be fucking fake, because if this is real, this is just terrible. But they found the car, I think, Saturday night or Friday night or whatever. But don't really fucking care, because in the end of the day, it's a mid. It's not even a mid-level Sprint Cup car. It's a fucking start and park. It's a start and park car. So who really cares? Travis Kvapil cares, because he has to get on the track, because he's got to finish 37th or whatever the fuck he's gonna finish. So don't really care. Glad the car got stolen, but fuck Travis Kvapil. He should be the one that's out of NASCAR, not Kurt Busch. But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a scumbag, and I've never really been a fan of his. He's boring and vanilla and kind of stupid looking. Back in the day, he stole that truck championship because Brendan Gaughan got wrecked by Marty Houston, and Ted Musgrave jumped to restart and all that stuff, and he stole that truck championship, and then he stole Brendan Gaughan's cup ride and ran even worse. I mean, I've never really liked Travis Kvapil, and then when he comes out as a convicted wife beater and he's still in the sport, that's bullshit. I mean, if you look at his owner, he looks like Big Pun or some wannabe rap mogul trying to own like a big 300, 400-pound fat fuck who looks like a hood trying to go and own a cup car, and he's never run any good he's run shitty drivers like Timmy Hill and Reed Sorensuck and people of that nature for his whole entire existence. Scott Riggs, like really shitty drivers. I mean, his best driver is probably Rudiman that he's run because he's actually won cup races, but that team's irrelevant, unfortunately, because NASCAR needs to fill fields and stuff. They can go and run them. He can go and show up and run these races, even though they're a joke. But when I heard that, I got a kick out of it, because that whole entire weekend was a clusterfuck in terms of his car getting stolen at Atlanta for the Supercross race. Two guys were unfortunate, lost their bikes, got their bikes stolen and equipment. Denny Hamlin's motor coach somebody hit Denny Hamlin's motor coach or something, or Pucamania's motor coach, or there's so much bullshit that was going on at Atlanta. It was so hood-rich and so half-assed, like the Verizon, whatever the speed on the modem commercials that they have, and how Atlanta's just basically going down the toilet the way they buried Rockingham. It was not a good weekend for the sport in general, coming off of basically a pretty crappy Daytona 500. They didn't do themselves any favors this week.
Which, by the way, I enjoyed both of yours Daytona 500 review.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I tried my best to channel the inner Elizabeth, but it was a little hard. But yeah, I got through it.
All right.
Yeah, we don't have your looks or your body, so it wouldn't be possible.
We're kind of short on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I smell an epic run from the both of you coming up. All right. Here you go.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Yes, it's the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 that will be racing at Kansas on May 9th. You couldn't get ISIS to sponsor instead? Come on.
Heyo.
The fact that I don't even remember where I first heard this, but why? Why is this a thing? Like, oh my god. The names for these races just get stupider and stupider every year. If it's not a stupid name, it's a really long name, like what we had this week, the old Quick Trips of Honor fucking clusterfuck 500. Like, Jesus Christ. what is so hard about just finding a simple name for a race, or at least at least naming a race that seems cool, like the Budweiser 400. That's what the Riverside race was called for many years, and it was probably one of the best races from the best race course of all time. But that's just my opinion. Or just simple, like the Pennzoil 500, or something like that. Something that's just simple and to the point, and that's cool. Not something that just sounds epically retarded when you say it. Wonderful Pistachios 400 from Richmond's another one. Who in their fucking right mind came up with that idea and thought it was a good idea? I'll never fucking know. Then we have the NRA 500 from the dipshits in Texas a couple years ago. Then it got even worse the next year with the Duck Commander 500.
Commander 500.
I'm like, what? How? Why is this a fucking sponsor? Why? Oh, wait, I get it. Because you're in Texas and you have to appeal to the rednecks? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, when I heard this, the fact that it's going to be called the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 in Kansas, I thought, this has got to be a fucking joke. If this isn't a fucking joke, I'm going to rip my fucking hair out. And then I read it, and it says, this is not a joke. And I've seen so many people retweet it, reply it, on my Facebook status and on my Twitter feed. And I'm just like, why is this? Who came up with this idea and thought, yeah, let's call it the SpongeBob SquarePants 400. Doesn't sound pretty cool. You gotta appeal to the kids. I'm just like, no, you gotta appeal to the kids. Sure, we've already got a kid appealing shit already, but this just makes it even worse. I just cannot fucking believe.
I want to say this. I'm a SpongeBob fan. I've watched every single episode. I've seen both the movies. Hell, I even have SpongeBob slippers. But this, no.
It's just one of the worst things that NASCAR could do. NASCAR's already going down the shitter enough as it is with Johnson ruining the sport and BZF snorting cocaine and letting hookers finish him off. But, and now we have a really, 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 really retarded name for a race. And another thing, Jeff Foxworthy's Grit Chips 300 a few years back from Nationwide, now Xfinity at Bristol, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm just like, when can we see real names for races? Not names that are really, really fucking long, not names that are really fucking stupid, just simple names, simple sponsors for a race. Pennzoil 500, Budweiser 400.
Last time SpongeBob was even in NASCAR was to sponsor Fucktart's car back in 2005 just to promote a movie. Now,
yeah, that was pretty shitty too. I mean, not just because it was Johnson, but just because the car was stupid. Not to mention they sponsored Kyle's Busch car when he was still in the 5. So either way,
now,
this is probably the dumbest.
I don't know why they're doing it now. I mean, the movie's been released last month.
I don't know, but all I know is that this is probably the worst name for a race I've ever heard in my life. Even the Wonderful Pistachios 400 is even more manlier name for a race than the SpongeBob SquarePants 400. That's big. You might as well just get rid of the cars and put go-karts in there and have little kids drive them, because that's going to be the extent of the race on May 9th. Because Kansas is shit anyways.
That'd be awesome if you drove go-karts around Kansas Speedway.
Even though Kansas is a shithole, but, that's beside the point.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's... I mean, when I heard SpongeBob SquarePants 400, I was like, well, I guess Jimmy and Chad can finally come out, because that's probably their equivalent in cartoon land, or Mikey, or whoever he fucks in the garage area, or Adam Alexander and Mikey, or I mean, when I heard that, I'm like, that, for a sport that lacks credibility with its hardcore fans, going and getting sponsored by Nickelodeon and SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, you're going to bring out SpongeBob and Patrick and all the other fucking characters, and they're all going to be going and dry humping all these random race car drivers and, like, creeping on all the babies. Hopefully they go and steal Keelan or something. That'd be pretty funny. Like, they randomly go and steal Keelan, he gets lost in... Or they do something like that and free Kevin Harvick out. That'd be pretty funny. Or what's her face? Delana goes and loses her shit, or some crap like that. I mean, the fact is, it's perfect. A goofy, stupid sponsor with one of the worst racetracks that any motorsport goes to. It's a match made in heaven. And in a lot of ways, BZF has the mental it lacks the mental capacity of a SpongeBob or Patrick anyway. So I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Can I guys
To
tell you
me,
something? I thought about getting a Squidward tattoo on my 18th birthday. That's how much of a fan I am.
wow, that would have been something. That would have been one where you'd have been regretting it later, I figure. But to me, it is what it is. Like one of my friends brought up, it's like they're sponsored or keeping it. It's like that's fine and well, but it's just insane to me that this is what we've gone down to. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's like where's the Astroglide 500? You know, where's the Kotex 500 and the whatever whatever the Summer's Eve 250 and all these other damn. When are we gonna go and get to that point? When are we just gonna go and start doing that? Well, let's just cut the crap and start going and getting these like sex products and like some sort of other lube or something or some dildo sponsor. Let's go and get to that point. Fleshlight 500, perfect. Let's just stop the shit and let's go and get to that point. I don't see what's holding them back anymore. Why don't we just go for it? But NASCAR is so fucked up. I mean, whatever. when I heard the SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm like, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it is what it is with them. They're so hacky. It makes perfect sense that they are sponsored by fucking SpongeBob. So good for SpongeBob. He gets to dry hump some fruity drivers at the racetrack, and Mikey and Kenny Wallace can go and put on a costume as an affect for their stupidity this week instead of the bullshit they usually do at the racetrack.
Alright, Kurt Busch is in the news. Kurt Busch signs NASCAR terms for road back to reinstatement from indefinite suspension. Scroll down here. Alright. Former champion Kurt Busch has begun the process for reinstatement. NASCAR Talk has learned. Busch, indefinitely suspended February 20th, has signed NASCAR's terms and conditions for consideration of reinstatement. NASCAR Integrated Marketing Communications Vice President David Higgin, next person to have me blocked on Twitter, told NASCAR Talk Monday morning. Busch signed the conditions at the end of the week. Apparently, there's the terms I don't understand. So it's just basically a bunch of bullshit again.
Well, I mean, it's I read the article and I thought, well, whatever it takes to get Kurt back to NASCAR, the sooner the better, because everyone knows how I feel in the situation. Because Kurt's one of my guys, and to see him suspended, I could hardly eat or drink for a couple hours after I heard what happened to Kurt, because it got to me that much. But in case in point, like I said, whatever Kurt's got to do to get back in NASCAR, awesome. Hopefully he comes back in a couple months, maybe before the chase starts. And I don't know if he's going to even be back in the 41, because Chevy basically cut all ties with him after he got suspended. So I don't even know if he's going to get back.
Which, by the way, Regan Smith's going to be driving for the 41 in Vegas this week?
Yeah, I read that on J-Ski, and I thought, well, okay, cool. I mean, Smith's a great driver, but he can. They got to announce a full-time driver sooner or later, because it's going to get to a point when there's no double headers for the Xfinity and Cup Series, so they're going to have to really buckle down and find out.
My friend Mark says Norm Benning.
Yeah, God. I mean,
we need the Norm Walls coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, Norm Benning's a good driver, is a decent driver, but he needs to stay in trucks. That's my opinion. I personally think that if they're going to get someone for a full-time gig, they need to get somebody who can get that 41 in victory lane, someone who's been shafted by NASCAR, or somebody that just really didn't get much out of their Cup equipment and got shafted to Xfinity or trucks. See them in the 41. But back onto the Kurt situation. It is. It does sound like a bunch of bullshit, but it is bullshit because it's NASCAR bullshit. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. When NASCAR is usually involved in the business acumen, it's usually shit because BZF and Mike Help and Robert Pemberton and all these dumb fucks that run NASCAR, they got to find some way to ruin a driver's credibility, or they have to find some way for them to agree to their ridiculous terms and conditions. So like I said, whatever Kurt's got to do to get back in the Cup and in NASCAR altogether. I don't even care if he's driving for a really mid-level team. I'll still support him. I mean, I've supported him since he was at Penske in '08, and I'm gonna support him to the very end because I don't give a fuck if he's in NASCAR, IndyCar, V8 Supercars, NHRA, F1. I'm a Kurt Busch fan to the very end. So yeah, fuck NASCAR.
I got my Kurt Busch shirt in the other day.
Oh yeah, the one you ordered. Does it look good? Is it any cool?
It's basically pink with metallic 41 on the side.
Oh nice. I got a Kurt long sleeve for Christmas, and that was before this whole situation came up. So during the summer, I might just cut off the sleeves and just wear like a normal shirt because it's the only Kurt shit I have, which is ironic because I've been a Kurt fan for 7 years, and this is my first shirt, so it's kind of ironic.
Yeah, I mean, for Kurt, they're making an example out of him, which is bullshit, because of Pocket Commando, and he's not going to be driving the 41 car because Chevy, of all people, the government motors is holding a line, is drawing a line against domestic violence. They're responsible for killing as many people as any car manufacturer in the last 15 years, and they're going and holding a line against a guy committing domestic violence. That's some bullshit to me. But at the end of the day, for Kurt, he's going to get back in a race car at some point this year. I've been on record saying he's going to go to NHRA because why does he need to deal with this bullshit anymore? He can win cup races. He's never going to win another cup title probably, but he can still win a cup race here and there. He's a pretty talented guy, but unless he's going to own his own equipment, he's not going to get any factory support. I'll tell you, if he does go and run his own stuff, I would think him and his brother would do it, and they'd run Toyotas or something, and that would probably be good for Toyota because they need all the help they can get. But other than that, I don't know if Chevy's bailing on him, and they didn't bail on Smoke. Well, they didn't bail on Smoke because he actually saved one of the race teams and won him a championship. But the way this whole thing has went down is so sketchy and pathetic that I really don't know what the end game is for Kurt, even if he gets reinstated. Where is he going to drive? What is he going to drive? He's going to drive the 44 car. Like, what is he going to gain by coming back after being ostracized and hung out to dry by the Three Stooges and all the other pieces of shit in the mainstream media and stuff like that? He should just go and do something where he's actually going to enjoy himself. He's not going to get heat for being who he is when he drives a pro stock car for Alan Johnson. There might be some because of the access, but really at the end of the day, that's probably where he should go because he's got friends there. He's liked. He can go and kind of mellow out and do what he wants to do and get away from this bullshit with Pocket Commando because that fucking cunt won't be going to any NHRA races anytime soon because they actually have proper representation of the armed forces at the NHRA. So it's good to hear he's starting the road to quote road to recovery. It's basically I'll kiss BZF's ass for a couple of months and then I'll get reinstated once I'm out of points position to get into the chase.
Okay, we'll just go to Hell Since 250. Happy Pizza Face. Douchebag Dylan number 1. No, number 2. My bad. Busher, Elliott, Storm Menard, Brian Scott, Kenseth, Smith, and Larson. Shitty race. Very shitty race.
Yeah, it was typical. It was the first Xfinity race could be won by a Cup driver. We've made history already with the first Xfinity race ever being run with Reed winning at Daytona. Now we got the first Cup regular winning the Xfinity race. So it had to happen sooner or later with Kyle out of the picture. There's not going to be many drivers that are going to be doing the Cup Xfinity doubleheader every weekend. I mean, you're going to see Harvick. You're going to see Candy Cane maybe run a few races. You're definitely going to see Pizza Face and Brad run a couple times. But realistically, it's going to be great for the Xfinity drivers because with Kyle out of the picture with his injuries, they're going to be actually able to run for wins this year. And the fact that they're going to be going to racetracks where the Cup drivers won't compete, that'll be even better for them because there's not going to be no chances of Kyle Busch getting into an Xfinity car for the next 4 or 5 months maybe. So glad it wasn't Logano. I watched the last 70 laps of the race. And I just had to mute the TV because with Adam Alexander bambling on like a retard, and then of course we had MW55 being as gay as ever. I mean, it's just not really surprising. And the only saving grace was Brad. So and the last 2 weeks we've had 2 Cup drivers be color commentators. Harvick was in the Xfinity booth last week with the 2 dumbasses and actually was the smartest of the 2 and actually didn't get on people's nerves. And the same with Brad, even though people hate on Brad just because he's aggressive and the fact that he's won a championship when probably the drivers that he's fighting against haven't won anything. So good on Brad. He did pretty good in his first bout in TV. The only thing I'm going to be dreading, though, is that Xfinity race in June with Pukemania going to be in the booth. I might as well just not even watch that race because they're just going to be sucking her fucking imaginative cock all day long. So glad Harvick won, but realistically, it was probably one of the worst Xfinity races I've seen in my life. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 163 lap race, and Kevin Harvick and Logano led all but 3 laps. So if you're going to go and look at it in terms of quality, well, if you don't like one of those 2 drivers, you're screwed. But I'll focus on the battle for the Xfinity title. Giant forehead Dylan number 2 ran a truck, or I don't know if it was. I think he ran a truck on later on in the night, but he finished 3rd, staking his claim to a run for the title. All the title contenders are really there, minus Bubba Wallace. He finished 11th, but Dylan Busher, Elliott, Scott, Regan Smith, Bubba Wallace, all are in the top 11. All those guys are really going to be there during the season as long as Bubba's given a chance to run out the season with no sponsorship like he ran Trevor Bean a few years ago. Hopefully he does that. One-Eyed Jack. I mean, all of them are in the top 8 in points right now. So it's going to be a very interesting season. Like Adam said, once they get away to some of these non-companion events, we got the Boris Seds of the world driving the 54 car, which will be cool.
Boris Said, Eric Jones, and Denny Hamlin are going to be taking turns driving the 54.
Yeah, that's going to be good because I've been a Boris Said fan for many years. He's a really good dude. I've spoke to him, calling into Mushmouth, Claire B's radio show, and
he's brave soul.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, she's not awful, unlike that fuckstick Moody and all those other people. She actually tries, and she's a nice woman. She just is a mushmouth, and she's probably taken Tony's loads too, which is entirely fine. Jenna Fryer wants Tony in her ass in the worst way and can't get it. That's part of the reason why she writes so many negative articles about him. But the getting back to the race, the race sucked, but the whole weekend wasn't very good in general. But you knew Harvick Harvick has a setup that works at Atlanta, so why is it really a surprise? He had to start eighth. That was the only compelling part of it. Logano led the first 49 laps. Harvick takes over for a bunch of laps. Then Logano came back later on in the race, and then Kenseth led after Logano, and then Harvick took over. Logano led 10 laps after a caution or something, and then that was the end of it. During pit stops, and that was the end of it. I mean, what difference does it make? I'll say that Brad being on the announce group actually made it worth listening to, because the other two could go and jump out of that window, that third, fifth story window, or how many stories they're up, and kill themselves, and they would have just hit plain aluminum, because there was like 17 fans for the Xfinity race, and there was probably another 100 added onto that for the Cup race. So the race, the actual drivers announcing has been successful so far through 2 weeks, and we'll hear what Jeffy is trying to do, because hopefully Jeffy does a good enough job where they fire Darrell and Larry and just put him in the booth with Mike Joy or something next year.
Okay. Brian Scott made this video on YouTube, promising his stepdaughter that she will treat her mother right. It was a sweet video. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, so I saw that video not too long ago. I think about 3 or 4 days ago, and I thought, wow, that's there's not too many NASCAR videos out there where you're just like, damn, that's emotional. I mean, there's not that many NASCAR things I get emotional at. I mean, I do get emotional when watching tributes for Alan Kowicki or Davey Allison or Neil Bonnet or Dale Sr. Or Adam Petty.
By the way, did you guys watch the I Am Dale documentary on Spike?
I DVR'd it, and I'm gonna watch it later.
All right.
After I watched
I didn't see it.
episode of Top Gear.
All right, so continue what you say.
Yeah, I watched I DVR'd the senior documentary on Spike. I'm gonna watch it later after I watch the newest episode of Top Gear, which came on last night. So I'm gonna watch that. But I like Brian Scott. Brian Scott's a cool dude. I've always liked him, even when he was driving that 16 truck, the Albertsons truck, in the truck series when it was still Craftsman trucks back in the day. And like I said, I don't get emotional over NASCAR things too much. I only get emotional when we hear of tributes to Alan Kowicki, Davey Allison, Neil Bonnet, Kenny Irwin, Adam Petty, Dale Sr., and the last race at Riverside, that gets to me too. So this kind of got me like, wow, it hit close to home. But there's not that many NASCAR videos in the modern era that will make you do that, because most of the NASCAR era videos are sucking Johnson's dick or basically saying that Brad Keselowski's a cheater and all this other stupid shit that NASCAR tries to shove down our throats. So it was a definite great change of pace than to hear the typical bullshit that we hear on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see the video. I've never really been I've heard Brian Scott speak, and he comes off as kind of douchey. It doesn't help his cause that he comes from daddy's money between the Albertsons, being the grandson of the person who made Albertsons, and the Shore Lodge is his family thing, and all that stuff. Good for him. He married a good woman. Let's see him actually follow through. Now he can go and focus on actually winning a race to justify his actual seat. And trying to win a championship. That would be something he should be looking at. Good for him. That's something that'll get to pull on the heartstrings. I didn't get to watch, and I'm probably not going to, but that's something that, as a man, really, you ought to hold yourself to that standard, so good on him for doing that.
Okay, we're going to Hyundai Construction Equipment 200. Crafton, 4 ahead Dylan number 2. BZF, Stupid Nephew. Mexican Suarez, sorry about that. Tyler Reddick, Johnny Sauter, Eric Jones, James Busher, Timothy Peters, and Joe Nemechek.
Well, this race really was a It was better than the Cup race by far. Really surprised about Suarez and his stupid ass actually able to stay in the front without wrecking people. And I can't stand Suarez for the fact that he not only wrecked in qualifying like Boyer did, the qualifying for the 500. But not to mention, he can't drive for shit. The fact that Joe Gibbs put him in the 18 and kicked Bubba Wallace to the curb is something I'll never be able to wrap my head around. Was really hoping Suarez would wreck because he doesn't need to be in trucks. He needs to be in K&N or ARCA or something. He just needs to be away from
our
us.
favorite driver, Rex Talley, didn't even wreck.
That's surprising because he wasn't. Oh, phew, thank God. I didn't even notice because normally when he's in the trucks, he's actually wrecking people, and so to not have him in the race was actually pretty cool. But good on Crafton. I've always been a Matt Crafton fan, and the fact that he's coming from my neck of the woods. He's from California, NorCal. But he's from NorCal, I'm from SoCal, but either way, he's one of the few true California drivers that can actually race and get things done. Like Harvick, and like Gordon. He is not like that piece of shit, the 48, that just makes me embarrassed to even be from the same state as him, but that's another story for another day. I'm glad he held off Dylan. Even though I can't stand Ty Dillon, I do like him better than Austin, because Austin is just a fucking tool, and that cowboy hat just makes him fucking look retarded. At least Ty has the sense not to wear that stupid-ass cowboy hat.
Let me ask you this, who looks better in the cowboy hat? The forehead Dillon brothers or Burt Reynolds portrayed by Norm Macdonald?
Burt Reynolds. I mean, it's well, even if it wasn't Burt Reynolds, Norm Macdonald looks way better in a hat. Even Richard Petty, even Dale Sr. looks better in a cowboy hat than those two douchebags. And another person that gave up wearing the cowboy hat was Richard. That's a couple years ago. I don't even remember when he stopped wearing it, but he looked
when he got together with Pukemania.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was kind of like drawing the line for her. But yeah, the race was kind of meh, but it was better than the Cup race, that's for sure. Hopefully we can get a better truck race when they head to Martinsville in a few months. So we'll see how it goes there.
Yeah, I mean now they take a 1 month break because of the great NASCAR schedule. But Crafton on the heels of 2 straight championships wins. In dominant fashion, probably his most dominant victory of his career. He hasn't won a lot, but when he wins, he makes it count. And he won this last year. He won at Martinsville. This year, he wins Atlanta, going off on basically a month break, and he's closed the points gap to 2 to Tyler Reddick, who finished 5th on Saturday night. Keselowski jumped out of the booth to go and drive the truck, his truck, but struggled, went 2 laps down due to a tire problem, finished 15.
Which he thought he wanted to pole for the race. Apparently, ruled that the NASCAR ruled that Keselowski's polling lap didn't begin until time had expired in the final round of knockout qualifying. Guess who got the pole instead?
Well, it's Ben Kennedy, which is convenient.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when he won the pole last year at Daytona.
It was given to him.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna, I mean, it's easier to fix poles at Daytona than it is at a regular track, but it seemed too convenient to me. He didn't. What is it? He led the first lap and then disappeared, and so it didn't hurt anybody. Then Eric Jones went and led for a period of time, and then Kez and Eric Jones again before Crafton basically took over.
I'm starting not to like the guy. I'm sorry.
Like who?
Ben Kennedy.
Well, I mean, Ben Kennedy's not that good. The only reason he's in this series is because of nepotism, and he took a big time ride. Now he got canned because of the Turner Scott folding deal, and then he still gets a ride with basically no sponsor from Tom DeLoach, who runs. I guess you bring any money, then that makes you viable, no matter how good or bad you are. So whatever, he finished third. That's not going to happen all that often. I figure Timothy Peters needs to come around, and Joe Nemechek for the last few races, he's going to run before John Hunter takes over his seat. John takes over the seat full time in the summer.
Now, I like that kid, John Hunter Nemechek. I think he has a big future.
Well, he definitely does because he's got a great head on his shoulders, and he got car control, and he's mature beyond his years, and his dad, he's done a great job. Like, that's what a dad is supposed to do. Stay out of the limelight and do what you have to do to help your son as best he. But he's learning how to drive, and whenever he needs help, he goes and John Hunter asks his dad. He does. He helps him, but otherwise he lets him go and he lets him learn. And the only thing that's going to hold him back is sponsorship. Other than that, kid can drive, and it'll be good to see him here in Martinsville at the end of next month or end of this month. Otherwise, I mean, good for Crafton. You figure he wins 1 or 2 races a year, so he got it out of the way. All the points contenders are kind of lurking there right now, and you got Jones, Sauter, Busher, and Reddick. Those are basically the 5, the Kraft and Reddick. Those are the 5 that are probably going to contend. One of those 5 is probably going to win the championship this year, so that hasn't really changed. Nothing's really happened in 2 races, obviously. We'll see what happens at Martinsville when you have some crazy people showing up and a deeper field than usual.
Okay, so, it is Las Vegas. We're going to be in Las Vegas next week. For sprint, I'm going to have to say Brad. And my dark horse, and you guys are going to laugh at me, I'm going to say Jed Burton.
Woo, okay, well, it's better. He has a better shot than winning the Danica, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, that's about all that is. But,
Oh, give the poor kid a chance.
it has nothing to do with the kid. It has to do with the freaking rent-a-car he has to drive every week.
Oh,
Well, with me and the cup thing, because I was going to be going to Vegas this year, but for some reason I can't. So I'm going to have to skip out on Vegas this year. Not going to ACS because ACS is a fucking shithole. But in any event,
look at the bright side, though, Kyle.
Yeah, but still, I mean, every year I go to ACS, it's just the racing gets worse and worse. So I don't know, I'm gonna be kind of 50-50 on it. So my picks, I'm gonna go with 2 Cup guys and then 1 dark horse. I'm gonna go and say Kenseth is 1 because Kenseth hasn't won in nearly 2 years. 2014 was terrible for him, and he's already off to a good start this year, 5th at Atlanta. And I don't know where he finished in Daytona. He finished somewhere outside the top 10. He
got
won
wrecked with the Tony Stewart wreck early, so.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And he won the shootout, did good in the duels. So I think Kent's is going to win. Or if not Kent, then I'm going to say Harvick. Harvick gets that win. He's finished second 2 races in a row. So I figure if it's not going to be Kent, it's going to be Harvick. And then the dark horse, I guess, would be. I think it would probably be Reagan. I'm going to say Reagan goes out on a limb and wins in the 18 because, I mean, Reagan's a good driver, but he's just been fucked over by Roush and succumbed to shitty equipment that he can't really drive any good race cars. The fact that he won at Talladega was just Talladega, that doesn't really require luck to win there. That was just luck that won him that race. But I believe Reagan is in a good spot at Joe Gibbs in the 18. If they're going to pick anybody to fill in for Kyle, I figure Reagan's the best choice out of all of them. They could have picked Donnie Neuenberger, for fuck's sake. I heard he was a candidate to be in the 18. I thought just stick with Reagan. Reagan's actually got talent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to pick Jeffy to win at Vegas this weekend. And if we're going to pick a dark horse candidate, I would have went with Reagan's a good one. I'll go with Martin Truex, Jersey boy. The way he's run so far this year, he's got the good momentum, and you can't really get away from that. If you have good momentum, it flows through the whole entire team. And Vegas is one of his better racetracks, coming off a good run last week. I think it'll definitely. I think he could definitely give himself a shot to win a race for the 78 team. That is one of the closest races to home for the Colorado-based team. So that would be a great place for them to show up and win. So I'll go with Reagan as a dark horse candidate, but I figure Jeffy wins on Sunday in his final Vegas start.
All right, for the Xfinity. Holy crap, Brendan Poole. Wow. I had no idea he drove nationwide.
Well, he is this year.
Oh. Yeah, Brandon Poole's on mine and friends Phil. So friend me Phil. He's friends with me and Phil. So Well, let's see. Ooh.
You need a minute?
No. I think I'm going to choose Regan Smith to win in Xfinity. My dark horse will probably be Chris Buescher.
I'm gonna go, and I'm already on J-Ski. I'm looking at the entry list right now. I figure if it's gonna be an Xfinity, I don't know how many Cup drivers are in the field. I guarantee there's gonna be quite a few.
I only see Dylan number 1, Denny Hamlin, and Guntard. And Arik Almirola, but he was not going to be that great.
Okay, well, for Xfinity, I'm going to have to go and say Chase wins. And if it's not Chase, then I'm going to go with Jones. He gets his first win. And if I'm going to go with a dark horse, I'm probably going to pick, let's see. Oh, God, Townley's in the field. Everybody fucking run. He's going to wreck somebody.
You should hook him and Danican up instead.
Yeah. I mean, they're a match made in heaven. They both suck. They both wreck, and both of them are in NASCAR not because of talent, but because of somehow or way they get money pays them to get in. So, dark horse, I guess I'll pick Bubba. Bubba could be a good shot. I mean, it's his third race with Roush. I think he might have a shot to win.
Yeah, I'll go, and I figure Hamlin wins in the 54 car. He'll win a bunch of races. He could start off with this, and he'll win a bunch of races in that car. I would think this would be a good start. I mean, Junebug, I don't think he's going to win, and the 98 team's a good team, but they're not a top 5 team. They're a top 10 team, really. Outside of that, what is it? Brendan Poole is driving the 42 instead of Kyle Larson this weekend. So that would have been Kyle Larson would have been a pick for me, but I'll pick Denny Hamlin if it's going to be a regular points a guy chasing points this year. I'll pick Chris Chris Buescher to win because to win his first oval race. In terms of somebody that would be outside, I'll go Ryan Blaney because he's not going to get that many opportunities in that car. And that's one of the best cars in the field. So I'll go Ryan Blaney as the quote dark horse pick, even though he's a winner in the Xfinity Series and has beaten Cup guys before.
Okay, I've been slacking on this, but next week we'll do a question. We'll have the question thread. I know you guys want to ask us questions and everything. I've just been really busy and I haven't had time to post them. So. Don't worry, David. Cynical David, you can give us the greatest questions you can give us. So, with that being said, we're on geekstudyindustry.com. Go on our site, check your shows out. They haven't been updated in months, with the exception of Mega Powers Radio and Geeks on Film. Our YouTube page, check that out. Just search NASCAST 500. We have almost all the shows uploaded. So, I'm Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/NASCAST500. That's our main group Facebook page. At NASCAST500. You can follow us there. I'm at Elizabeth Moxley. I'm not safe for work. Guys.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, www.facebook.com/AdamLeslieAutoWriter. I'm also on YouTube, www.user/SunnyBurnett1988. Haven't really posted much on there lately. There's so many full albums I'm running out of ideas for, but give my channel a look if you like what you see. I'm also on Twitter at the Desert Bandit. Don't go on there much, but if you want to follow me, go ahead. And also do us a favor and like our NASCAST YouTube page. We only have one more show that needs to be uploaded, and the rest of it, it's all done. So just give a look at that, and don't forget to check out our Twitter handle at NASCAST500. So keep tabs on us there.
Yeah, I'll promote my personal Twitter at Philip G. Matthew. Usually Adam and I, during the races, get into conversations adding the at NASCAST 500 Twitter handle. So if you want to follow us there. Facebook.com/Philip G. Matthew. I have the unfiltered blog that, due to the great weather we've had in the Northeast and general tiredness from working 5 days a week, I'm guilty of slacking, obviously. And Adam's story, hopefully, I'll do my best. Don't you bet, but I'll do my best to post it up there, along with something on on my opinion on the sport, along with Save Stock Car Racing, which is my buddy Chuck Ellison's page. They're getting off the ground now with some content, and Josh Hafeen goes and tweets.
Which, by the way, I'm going to be writing a blog post on that on Safe Star Car Racing. It's just basically the history of NASCAST. Don't worry, it's going to be also be on Unfiltered Phil's blog as well. So.
Been 10 long years since the devil laid his fiddle at Johnny's feet, and it burned inside his mind the way he suffered that defeat. In the darkest pits of hell, the devil hatched an evil plan to tempt the fiddle player, for he's just a mortal man. The sin of pride, the devil cried, is what will do you in.
I thought we had this settled. I'm the best it's ever been.
Johnny, did you ever know the time keeps marching on? The coldest hour is the one comes just before the dawn. The devil's back in Georgia, will you stand up to the test? Or will you let the devil be the best?
Truth is, I hadn't played much since the baby came in June. But give me half a minute and I'll get this fiddle back in tune.
The devil grabbed the golden fiddle out of Johnny's hand and said,
"Boy, I'm the fiddle player underground, but now I walk upon the land." Better just be turning back if you want this boy to win, cause practice is the only cure for the predicament he's in.
Now, devil, it would be a sin for you to get my bow, so you go on back to hell to the woodshed. I will go.
Johnny, are you practicing, or will your hands grow cold? The devil walks the land and plays a fiddle made of gold. Can you hear the babe a-crying? Will he ever know? The devil wants his daddy's very soul.
thank you for letting God's own word ring true. He said you can't be trusted.
Yeah, so what you gonna do?
Well, you get your fiddle, devil, if you think that you can win. Cause I beat you once, you old dog, and I can whip your butt again.
John Brown's dream, the devil is red. My little baby loves shortening bread. Devil's dream is that he can win, but Johnny is the best that's ever been.